Expo 2020 حياكم.
So your voice is trademarked and you're officially the voice of Dubai.
Pretty much.
With sound, if it's nice, it never annoys.
100%. Luca's inside track.
So getting that cut through, in your opinion, has to be done in 2-3 seconds.
If it doesn't, it's a failure of a project. And when I say I've done 118 brands, Luca, that is more sweat, blood, tears, and rejections than you can imagine.
There are loads of podcasts on YouTube. How much is actually being invested behind podcasting?
Nothing is as important as music. I'm super proud that I get to do this for a living.
A lot of people will look at you and they're not able to identify with you.
No, they just think I'm making everything up, or I'm lying, or I'm exaggerating, or... These are some very good questions.
You know I love you.
I love you too.
Today's guest is the voice of Dubai, Ahmad Haffar. Ahmad's voice is everywhere in Dubai, but his real superpower is as a sound engineer and entrepreneur, creating powerful jingles, or what we call sonic branding, for many famous advertisers. On the episode today, we talk marketing, but through the lens of a sound entrepreneur and engineer, and also the psychological benefits of music in helping to drive customer persuasion. To quote William Shakespeare, "If music be the food of love, play on."
I think we should just go inside.
Ladies and gentlemen, please note, speaking so loudly around me when I just woke up is equally not as good as when you hear my voice in town. And I guess that's why I'm known as the voice of Dubai. I'm a music composer, sound designer, audio engineer, business owner, and very, very soon going to be opening up a school, first of its kind.
I was involved in a car accident on August 2, 2012, and around 2:35 in the morning on August 3rd, I died and came back to life.
Ahmad, welcome to the show.
With such a beautiful voice, Luca, I'm not sure I can keep up. Thank you for having me.
Mate, you're just beautiful language immediately coming out of that mouth of yours. Fantastic. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me today. How are you?
Mate, I'm good. We've known each other for quite some time. It
we
seems a long time, but it also seems a very short time.
I think that's how life works. Sometimes when you meet someone and you feel really good about them from the get-go, it
Yeah.
immediately feels like you know them from a longer period.
Yeah.
But then you actually know them for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And then the stuff you don't like about them start fighting with the stuff you like about them. So yeah, I think that's where the confusion comes from.
You know, because I know you so well, we have a test. Okay, we have to record this episode in under 1 hour. Okay,
I'm not known for that.
That's the test, the challenge. That's the challenge I'm laying down, right? For those who don't know, Ahmad, he talks from the heart all the time. It's an amazing thing, but that heart can go on. So I really want to make sure that we get to the material that I want to get through today.
That's what Celine Dion said, and the heart will go on.
There you
I
go.
forgot
Now
the
you get a
song.
little bit of an idea. No, but seriously, welcome to the show. And I see you brought a mug in.
Yes,
Amazing.
I have a mug today. I have a mug. It is a beautiful mug. As you can see, this mug is now available at Luca's Inside Track. Available only. It's okay. There we go.
So talk to me about the mug. What's the story behind it?
Right.
Is there a story behind it? Or you just basically grabbed whatever you could grab out of the cup?
No, not at all. I actually put a lot of thoughts into this. Okay, so I had a person in my life, and that person made me the most delicious tea I've ever had in my life. And I loved it so much, I asked for seconds, and it was served in this mug.
Okay.
So I had to go back. I wasn't at my house. I had to go back to my house because I had a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
So that person was like, "Oh, you can just keep the mug." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I really like that organic tea that they made, and it was like, really, you can't really describe how delicious. Okay, the best way I can do it with my voice, like, it tasted like nothing. It tasted like going to Asia and Europe at the same time. Seriously, it was amazing. So I got back home, I had the thing, and I just drank it to the last bit, and I kept the mug. And then life went by and the person is no longer there. Like every time I look at it, you know, I just think of how delicious that tea was. So I kept it in my life and I still use it specifically and only for tea use. So that's the story of the mug. It's a heartwarming story.
Can I ask you who that person was?
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which brings me next to my next point, which is your safe word. Do you have a safe word for me? Typically, I ask guests to pick a safe word.
Yeah, just say bad musicians.
Bad musicians.
That'll wake me up.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of them. a lot of them anyway.
So you know that mug, by the way, going back to the mug, that's going to end up on my mantelpiece right there with
And
all the
that's-
other mugs.
That's an honor.
So get out your system. Come on, tell everyone the voices that you know, what people will know you, especially living in Dubai. So just let's get out of the way.
Right. So the voice stuff. So I used to voice a lot of private companies, right?
Yeah.
I used to voice InstaShop, shops you love, deliver better. I used to voice McDonald's. I used to voice a lot, but
Yep.
a lot of other people did as well. What I really gravitated towards was announcement voices. Something about helping people, guiding them, making sure they get to where they're getting to, and the style I've developed and the tonalities that I've developed. And I've collaborated quite endlessly with the Dubai government now and their entities to give my voice to them. And now that's become basically what I do with my voice. I no longer do anything else. A lot of
It's a
brands.
big build-up. Come on, Ahmed. We want to hear it. We want to hear it.
Okay.
How do people
so
know you?
We've got two tones here, yeah? We've got the English tone and we've got the Arabic tone. This is consistent across the city of Dubai, meaning, and I'm going to give you two exclusives here. Basically, the English tone goes like this. It's a tone that goes all over Dubai. It's very consistent, and it says 1 and 2 and 3. Dubai Expo 2020, Hayakum. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Dubai Opera. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Dubai Aquarium and Underwater Zoo. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to...
Festival City.
Well, no, wait. There's another one. Oh, yeah. That's the exclusive one. Coca-Cola Arena. Surprise.
Hey,
That's
there
a
you
new
go.
one.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
So your voice is trademarked, and you're officially the voice of Dubai.
So, pretty much. So, basically, when you go consistently in a city and have one particular tone literally follow you everywhere. So, as you mumbled a little bit, we do have the Dubai Festival City Mall, which is the announcements in the Imagine show and others, and then there's quite others. But that tone in English is designed specifically for that purpose. Then we have other stuff in Arabic, which is, you know, the same brands basically, or the same entities, but with a very different tone. So the Arabic, it's السيدات والسادة مرحبا بكم في دبي أوبرا. السيدات والسادة مرحبا بكم في كوكا-كولا أرينا, which is a new one. And of course, السيدات والسادة مرحبا بكم في مطار دبي العالمي, which is the XP airport.
You've had an amazing career so far. You're still a young man. You're 31 years old. You've got Mind Loop Studios. You do a lot of production. Hence, you've got it up there, center
Look
ring.
how cool that is.
For those who are listening on audio, he's talking about the AI image behind. So you've got Mind Loop Studios production. You've got a school which helps people develop their talent as well when it comes
It's actually A to Z.
A to Z.
Literally A
all
to Z.
things audio, which is amazing.
No, all things voiceover.
All things voiceover.
All things voiceover.
Okay.
So it's called On the Field Academy
Love it.
because media is like a war.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like a field and everybody's fighting everybody.
Yeah.
So what we do is that we turn, let's call them soldiers
Yeah.
to commanders.
Okay.
So we teach an 18-week program that's all customized. Meaning, when a person has an interest to be a voiceover, first thing we're going to do is we're going to assess them and tell them whether or not they can be voiceovers. Not in the sense of their voice. See, people have this misconception that people who are voiceovers just have nice voices. That's not true. So when we scout out for potential students, we put them through something called the assessment. That's actually step 1, where we ask them questions about their past, their history, who they are, and many other elements. And then we create a report with, ready for this, a behavioral therapist. Yes, we have a behavioral therapist full-time with us who studies these potential students before we even get to their voices. Then, if they do have what it takes, that's what it is. If they have what it takes, then of course we welcome them, and it's an honor to welcome them into our school where we have 5 teachers in total, me included, and we teach them, and then we introduce them to the market, suppliers, what to charge, how to make money, and we also buy them the audio equipment and teach them how to edit, to record, edit, mix, master, and export to work with the global market.
Very cool.
So that is On the Field Academy. It's still in its baby stages, but I'm extremely happy to say 82 students so
Amazing,
far and
amazing.
rising.
So you've got Mind Loop, which is all about production, On the Field, the Academy, which you talked about, and you've also got your Sonic branding business.
Yeah.
Now, explain what is Sonic branding for those who don't know.
Okay, so Sonic branding. I'll make it very simple. Everybody here in Dubai drives. Everybody knows the annoying music for insurance market. That is called a Sonic branding. People call it a jingle. What it is to associate a brand and its identity with a melody
Yep.
right? That lasts a few seconds long, and you not only know the brand from the melody, but you know what the brand stands for, what it's all about, and everywhere in between. So
it's a short piece of music,
Yeah.
right, that represents the brand,
Yeah.
in all of its facets.
In all of its facets and all of its touch points. So the different types of brands I've worked on are all very, very diverse, meaning each one required their own treatment. And what you do is that you take this little melody and then you expand it onto all of their other assets, such as social media, digital, online.
Yeah.
When you call them, you're put on hold. Lounge music, lobby music, and much, much more. Even the application sounds, even the UI and UX, meaning when you press on a button, you know, like an exclusive for you, I'm very proud of. There's a certain bank that has the word Arab in it. Can't really say who, but I think you figured that out. I'm super honored. I've done their music across the whole Middle East, meaning they have the retail music, for example, and they have 600 branches across the Middle East. When you physically go to any of these branches, the music in the background, that's sonic branding. So it's a 7-minute piece or 6.5 that has that core melody repeating, but not in a boring way.
Yeah,
So there we go. That is the shortest form I can do it. But everybody watches Netflix and knows the ba-bum sound.
Yeah.
I do the ba-bum sound, but I haven't had the pleasure to do the Netflix sound.
Yeah.
In the region Middle East right now, I've dedicated 11 years of my career to this, and it's my favorite thing.
And it's still very new. So have you ever worked on a podcast, sonic branding?
You know,
Or vodcast or online show, whatever you want to call it?
I have been approached by a good friend of mine to do the music for his podcast, and I've never done it before.
Okay.
Yeah. So he was very pushy, wanted things exactly the way he wanted them. Basically,
Clients,
he locked me in a room.
clients can be difficult
I know, right?
sometimes.
He locked me in a room,
Did he?
no water, no food, no nothing, and just forced me. And that was you. That was.
Sounds like a great guy. So you obviously did the sonic branding for the new season 3 of Luca's Inside Track. We changed the name from The Inside Track with Luca Allam to Luca's Inside Track,
Which I think is a great idea.
Thank you very much.
I think it really suits you.
Because we wanted to shorten it, and also, you know, if someone was telling me, Luca, you're your own in your own show, and yet your name is sort of tagged on at the very end. Why don't you? It's your show. Put your name somewhere in it. So that's what we did.
I think it's a great idea.
And we needed to change the music as well.
Of course.
And you graciously offered to help. Do you want to explain a little bit about how we did the exercise, what we did?
I would love to.
In a succinct way.
Yes, I'm happy to. I'm happy.
By the
to.
way, for those watching who know, I don't usually rush my guests, but because I know this guy and I like this guy, I can tell him what I want to say. I'm keeping an eye on the clock. We've got about 15 minutes left.
Good. We're making good on time so far.
Talk to me a little about how did we come up with the sonic branding for Luca's Inside Track?
Cool. So the brands that I've worked on are all actual brands. I've worked from telecommunications, hospitals, hotels, some global, some regional, some local. So a lot of these brands came with their own challenges.
Yeah.
But they all ultimately delivered to the same audience. When it came to a podcast, it was a new avenue. It was a new set of people. It's sort of like doing the music for a TV show that is in Saturday Night Live or the equivalent of. Okay, but it's more in a modernized way because it's podcast. So the first thing I wanted to do is take advantage of how well worded Luca's Inside Track was. First thing that we did is, of course, you remember, we sat down, we were talking about the brand. I wanted to understand it deeper. So, of course, I'm very grateful to be a guest here today. Ladies and gentlemen, grateful I am with this lovely man. Look at his smile.
By the way, you can look at this camera.
Look at this smile. Look how nice his smile. That's why he gets away with a lot. He has a gorgeous smile. So, sonic branding is not about where the brand is today or where it will be a few months from today. It's about where it's going to be 2 years, 3, 5, 10 years from today. Because like the logo, which is probably not, maybe it might get updated, but the music, it offers emotions. Visual cannot. And that's why everybody, anything without music sounds weird. But customized, tailored music sounds way better than general music. If you watch a movie and there's music in that movie that is not designed for that scene, it might sound somewhat fitting, but it will be off in comparison to something scored to it, like the works of Mr. Hans Zimmer and others. All of these things require serious detail. With podcasts, I really wanted to get into what people feel. Like, it's all about learning, it's all about knowledge, it's all about sharing, it's all about communication and community at the same time. So when you want to combine all of these pillars with Luca's pillars, what makes you, you, I found it to be welcoming, kind, genuine. I think the word is genuine. Being here today with you, his beautiful teeth and smile, it's all about genuine. You're a very genuine person. So what's best to represent your brand is something very genuine. But at the same time, a sonic needs to be memorable.
We spent a few hours sort of locked away, and we went through everything, and we did different versions. And man, I didn't know what you do, and so it makes this a much more richer conversation for me, because I understand what it takes to create something as short as 6, 7, 8 seconds. A lot of work, a lot, and there is a genius throughout the entire process, but I'm so glad we did it, because like I said, it makes this conversation at a different level. We spent hours adding different types of instruments at different sort of levels, removing, adding, changing, tweaking, on and on and on, until the end we were like, you know what, that's absolutely it. That's spot on. And once you hear it, you know it.
That's when you know. I mean, the thing with, there's a lot of brands that do have a sonic branding or music identity that doesn't fit them. That was done, let's say, a while back, or not with me. Sorry about that. I can't guarantee quality if you don't work with me. And it's not that it's bad, it's that it doesn't fit the brand. I think what's very important is that a lot of people treat sonic branding as something that just needs to be super memorable, which is wrong. It needs to be super memorable, but more importantly, it needs to represent the brand well. So when a brand doesn't achieve an ideal sonic that really represents it well, it doesn't matter. Even if the melody is memorable or for whatever reason, they're doing the wrong thing. Now with Luca's inside track, I believe we've done the right thing. Here's what I think really worked. First of all, we started out with the little drumsticks, right? Now these drumsticks were your idea, which by the way were amazing for a transition. Very simple yet very effective. Now the melody here goes in a sense where it really makes sense. Let's hear it. Every time I hear that, what do you feel? When you hear that, what do you feel?
It's warm, it's light, it's human, it's insightful.
And it's genuine.
Yeah.
And it has that 3 chords. So Luca's inside track. Like if we were to hear it, it's just Luca's inside track. It's not only that, it's the fact that you're a podcast. It introduced a longer form. Usually it's 2 to 3 seconds.
Yeah. Not
5 to 8. But because you're a podcast, we basically discovered together what would be an ideal timing for a podcast sonic.
I really enjoyed the whole process. It's super worthwhile. We created the outro music, which is slightly different. We created a trailer music specifically, and now we're going to create music just for the reels. So I have to say thank you so much, Ahmed, for the support you've given.
Honor.
You take charge, actually. You take charge of the show. Take the bag, 8 questions. Start asking, opening, reading, and let's have a conversation about it.
Okay.
It's all going to be related to hopefully what you're doing.
Okay, let's do it.
Hi everyone, I really hope you're enjoying the episode so far. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Throughout my career, I've met a lot of people that have anxiety when it comes to public speaking. If you're someone that has that anxiety or nervousness and has always wanted to be more confident in public speaking, but you're also not sure where to go or how to start, the good news is I might be able to help. I have 20 years experience working in corporate communication. I'm a former regional CEO and I've helped to win over 80 different clients through new business pitches. With so many online trainings based on theory, I wanted to share what's helped me in the business world. I've launched my own training program called Master Pitch. The 7-module course covers everything you need to know, whether it's learning how to really understand the audience, how to deliver real impact, or how to effectively storytell, I've got it covered. With practical tips and real examples, you can immediately start turning that anxiety into confidence. Also, in a world of AI, there's never been a more important time to invest in your personal brand and in developing your public speaking. For more information, go to lucaallam.com or drop me an email at info@lucaallam.com. Right, let's get back to the episode.
And it is... Okay. Sound design versus visual branding. Who leads who? Okay, so...
You get the questions. So visual branding, how the logo would look, for example, on an advertiser.
Yeah.
Sonic branding is the music that accompanies it.
Yes.
So who leads who? Is it the it's like a chicken and egg kind of thing. Is it the visual or is it the sound?
You ready?
I'm ready.
It's the sound.
Okay, why is it
the sound? I'll tell you why. a visual branding will be done whether or not the client wants to do it. It's an absolute necessity. You cannot have a brand without a visual identity. So because that's already a given, sound branding or music branding or sonic branding comes as a natural next step for it. So what it really does is that it fills up the hole that visual identity cannot do by itself.
Yeah.
I recently had the pleasure of working on a brand that has had the same logo for more or less the same logo for literally over 100 years. But they kept evolving the brand and the logo, but it's still the same. And they've never done a sonic branding or a sound logo. So I had the pleasure, well, the honor of doing their sound logo and their entire identity. And they're a global brand. They're everywhere, all over the world. So I really had to like capture certain things. Anyway, I spent 6 months going back and forth physically to multiple locations in different countries to feel the brand, to experience the brand before I could find out what's missing in their visual branding. So they not only complement each other, they are meant to be together. But unfortunately, brands do not have the awareness of doing a sonic branding yet, nor do they understand who is the right fit, because everyone just goes through proposals.
But can you create a sonic branding without an image?
Absolutely. You can create a sonic branding based on what the brand stands for.
So, and then can you create a logo out of a sound?
Yes. You can.
Has that been done before? Can any company that created the sound first and then the visual?
Nobody would do that, but
nobody does it.
Hypothetically, if anyone came up to me, a startup came up to me just for fun, if you're a startup and and you haven't made your logo yet, I would love to make your sound logo before the logo, like test this out. But no, it's never been done ever.
So what we did with Luca's Inside Track is I showed you the logo and I showed you there's the 3, 1, 2, 3, and we built the sound off the visual. So it was the visual in that case leading the sound. But in your opinion, it can be both, or it should actually be sound first.
Even if you explain to me,
but you would say that you're biased.
Huh?
You would say that. You're
biased. No. It's like if you explain,
you big sound geek.
If you explain to me what the show's about, what you're trying to achieve, and everywhere in between, I'll just sit down, think about it, and like think of this, right? The people who work in my industry, let's call them my competition around the Middle East, they're teams of people. I'm the only one who's one guy, And alhamdulillah, my portfolio, is quite
Ahmad, everyone knows you're great. It's okay.
Okay.
You don't need to sell yourself. That's why you're here. It's
fair. So the statement I want to make here is when you feel something in an indescribable way, no matter what you do in your life, when you feel something in an indescribable way, you then have, or you pave a road where you can catch yourself doing the right or the wrong things. With music branding, a brand can only evolve from a certain point of view after they've achieved what they've achieved. The point of sonic branding is not just to create that instantaneous and simultaneous connection with its audience and their consumer base, but it's also to evolve the brand beyond where it is today. Now, with, for example, Luca's Inside Track, that little melody, that positivity, that growth in it, it's gonna be like fine wine, Luca. It's gonna only get better and it will evolve naturally, meaning we will probably create other versions of it later on that represent the growth that you're going through. And that's where brands do not understand that sonic branding is not a one-time thing, but when you get that little melody right, that small short one, you can then create hundreds of variations for a decade.
But the crazy thing, and I fully agree, the crazy thing is, though, going back to the question, visual or sound, who leads who ultimately, think how many trillions of dollars have been spent on rebranding, on logos, on all that stuff, versus the amount of investment put behind sonic branding. It pales in comparison.
Completely. I think sonic branding is around maybe point something percent.
It's crazy. That extends into the podcasting space as well. So in this region, there's about $6 billion worth of advertising spend in digital. Okay, so advertisers are spending around $6 billion, maybe $6.5 billion on digital platforms. But yet, when it comes to audio-based platforms, it's less than 1%. It's actually about 0.5%.
Exactly.
Despite the number of people actually listening to podcasts.
Exactly.
So they're very much in sync. Should we do another question?
Yeah, let's do it. Soul leads music or music feeds the soul? You're off to a very good start, Luca. These are some very good questions.
So which is it? Soul feeds music or music feeds the soul?
Damn. Both. It's impossible to answer any other way. I'll tell you why. I'm happy to explain. Soul leads music creation. Music leads soul healing.
Okay. That's like a Hallmark card.
I make music for a movie or for a brand. I am literally tapping into my soul, taking a certain amount of it. Consider it like this mug, okay, and the liquid in it. This is how much my soul has.
Mm-hmm.
I worked on this brand. Let's say I did the music for, which I've done recently, Festival City Malls, the whole Middle East, right? I gave Al Futam this much of my soul. Okay, that's gone. That went into creating that ta-na-na, which is now going viral, alhamdulillah. So that is gone. My soul will eventually replenish. Now, how will my soul replenish? What I used to create that music, I listen to what I love. And then my soul replenishes. That's the best way I can put it. Because I don't do what I do using only logic and data and, positioning and marketing terms. I actually put in soul, quite literally. So my soul gets depleted. So in reality, my soul is required to do my job the way people have come to expect me to. And the music that I listen to personally, including my own private music, which no one knows, helps my soul get back to getting ready to go back to work. It's the best way I can put it. I'm sure, but this is an incredible question and you should keep it for every artist that you have because every single one of them is going to have their own answer and it's a genius question. I mean it.
I never asked the same question twice though.
Well, it's a shame you wasted it on a guy like me.
Who sat on the fence.
Yeah, man. But the impact of sound is crazy. I recently did a project called Sound Affects with an A, yeah? And it's about the PTSD of war because of sound. And I worked with a major agency here who I was lucky enough to be chosen by them and a big team as well. And basically we used everyday items like the sound.
Mm-hmm.
How would that sound? How would that particular sound, if strong enough, if loud enough, have an impact on your history being in a war zone?
Yeah.
And we created these sounds from everyday normal items. And we used the classics like the breaking the celery, which sounds like a human, and and other stuff to bring these sounds to life, and then some effects, of course, but mostly all from organic material that exists in your kitchen or in your cupboard with a lot of those. And we then created this pack. We released it online for video production companies to buy these sound design banks and use these banks. And then we donated everything to the war relief in Gaza.
Yeah.
Nice. And so that, for example, was a great project to work on, and that was also feeding the soul.
Of course.
So
the minute you start doing something
100%
that will help other people,
yeah,
which music is all about, by the way.
It's all about it. I mean, even
It's
like
such a good healer. There are times where we come home, Rasha and I, we've had a tough day, week, whatever the case is, and she's not in a great mood or I'm not in a great mood. And I know exactly how to get out of that mood. It's putting on music, and it's putting on certain types of music. And it just has this incredible power of being able to shift energies,
Completely.
to change moods.
in a split second.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Marketeers need to take advantage of that. Brands need to take advantage of that. Plus, a lot of creative people exist out there. Like Rasha, for example, I see her as a very creative person. And creative people have a lot going on in their head all the time,
100%.
including me, including you. So I think the more creative you are, when you're mixed with real life responsibilities, the more naturally overwhelming they become. And that's how my life is naturally.
Yeah.
But what I can tell you is, for example, you can learn things from other things, and people don't make that interlink.
Yeah.
Like, for example, the voice that you hear all over Dubai, those tonalities came from me doing sonic branding, because I was so good at customizing specific things down to the minute detail for each and every brand. I know how to customize my voice, but I never learned it, right?
Yeah.
It's just things feed off each other in the best way possible when you give it a chance.
And that's creativity.
Yep.
Should we do another ball, my friend?
Yes. Hum the top 3 most famous sonic branding ever created. Okay.
Hum the 3 most famous sonic branding ever created.
Here's what I'm gonna do. Okay. First one is
McDonald's. Is that the most famous? Because that's the first one that came to your mind. Okay.
that, like, globally. If we're gonna talk
But
on a
that
global
came
scale,
out from a Justin Timberlake song. Didn't it?
Yes and no. Yes and no, actually.
Didn't
No.
the song create that?
No. So it was a whole campaign that was being worked on, and it was like, you know, a bunch of artists that got in a room, because that's like ground zero for sonic branding or jingles on a modern scale. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, McDonald's has been using the same thing for the longest time. They're the biggest brand in the world that never rebranded in terms of sonic. They gave birth to a certain extent to the, like, you know, the modern idea of sonic branding. So no, it actually came from campaign music, like a song designed from for a campaign that had a catchy line through it.
Yeah.
But that's the incredibleness of simplicity in
Look,
sonic branding.
look, it is a very powerful sonic branding, but do you know what's more powerful?
1995.
Do you know what's more powerful? The visual, the M.
Yeah, of course.
So that has a longevity. So going
True.
back to the earlier point about visual or thingy, they both can be equally powerful.
Of course.
But McDonald's is more famous for the arches.
Agree, but would you want a brand without the other?
No, you wouldn't.
Especially
they have
if
to
you're
be in
that
unison,
big of a
and
brand.
that's the impact. So
Exactly.
If the visual matches the sound, done. Right, give me another brand. What else
Sure.
comes to mind?
Ta-da-dun-dun-ta-da-dun-dun-ta-da-dun-dun-dun.
Vodafone.
No, that's Nokia.
Oh yeah, it's Nokia. Oops.
Yeah.
Well, that's on Nokia. That's not on me. Yeah.
No, Vodafone.
You didn't work on that one, did you?
No, I didn't. I wasn't even born when that was. I think I was maybe minus 2 years old when that was done. No, those are like truly the ones that lived through the test of time, and you know, there's a lot more. I mean, it's really countless.
Do you know which you know who mastered this? Is that the movies, the big movie studios.
Yeah, the intro music.
Like
Both.
like whether it's Sony Pictures, Universal, Warner, the
I
music.
would love to work on a brand like that at some point. Like these
Look,
studios.
I'll call them up. I know. A couple of
Please,
people,
please, by all means. Too much marketing, clutter, and noise. How is sound able to break through?
So this goes back to look at digital. Going back to my earlier analogy, $6.5 billion being spent in this region. Most of that's going on big social platforms, Instagrams, TikToks, etc. of the world. Snap, all that. And there's so many brands competing
Yes.
in that space.
Yes.
Right? They're all fighting. Most of the spend, 80% of all that spend is on those tech kind of platforms.
Yeah.
And you've got about, half a second, 1 second in order to try and capture imagination, tell a story, raise awareness, deliver a call to action. There's so much noise. How the hell can sound penetrate through all that noise?
It's actually precisely and specifically what sonic branding is all about. This is the literal definition.
Do you like my play on the words?
No, you're quite doing very, very good with
Thank
this.
you, my friend. Thank you.
Genuinely. So, right. Let me tell you one thing.
And this goes back to what I was saying to Phil earlier about the investment into podcasting. Despite, look, Saudi Arabia, there are 67% of adults in Saudi Arabia are listening to podcasts every week. It's the highest penetration in the world.
Wow.
What's the investment in audio advertising in Saudi Arabia? Less than 1%.
Exactly. And not only that.
Tells you everything you need to know. UAE, sorry to interrupt. UAE, 98% penetration on YouTube.
No.
Yeah, it's the highest in the world. There are loads of podcasts on YouTube. How much is actually being invested behind podcasting in UAE? Less than 1%. In fact, it's less than 0.5%.
That's
So
crazy.
it just telling you again about where marketeers have been focusing a lot of their efforts.
So basically, you are, to our knowledge, one of the first podcasts to adapt a sonic branding in its early form in the whole region.
Do you know the problem we have with one of the challenges in marketing and advertising? Like, it's my background, right? So marketeers focus on bottom funnel metrics.
Yes.
It's about driving conversions,
Yes.
sales, leads, whatever you want to call it. In order to do that, the more frequency you have is considered wastage. If someone hasn't clicked, uploaded, shared, done whatever, within 3 exposures of that same ad,
It's considered to be a failure.
it's a waste. They're going to move on to someone else. So what that's basically saying is you've got 2 or 3 goes in terms of a frequency level before you move on. That means advertising has to become razor sharp in a bottom funnel, low frequency environment to deliver. But everyone's doing it, and that's why it becomes such a challenge. Whereas I've been trying to tell people, It's about building brand love. It's
Exactly.
about driving consideration. And for that, you need frequency. A minimum of 6 to 8 exposures every month, by the way, to help build that brand love.
Bare minimum. You can't be more right. Honestly, Luca, what people need to remember is that the world is changing and adapting. We're actually entering a new phase for everything, including marketing and branding, and sound has become more relevant and more important than ever.
Yeah.
Thanks to TikTok and Instagram and Reels and the
And that's why I
viral
fully
music.
agree with you. The fine wine bit is important because the more it's like, there is a lot of times you see an ad. Okay, let's say you're on YouTube. You see one of those bloody Grammarly ads, right? Everyone would see 15 times a week. You just get so annoyed with that,
Yes.
right? It's over. You get to a point of diminishing return where you've oversaturated them, and then you start to annoy the customer.
Yes.
With sound, if it's nice, it never annoys.
100%.
And that's for me the difference, where it has longevity that other facets of advertising doesn't. Like the jingle of McDonald's, whatever you call a jingle or not,
Yeah.
that will never annoy you if you listen to it and you see it
100%.
versus if you see it. You see what I mean?
Exactly. And not only that, it's always going to have a cascading and domino effect in a very good way when it's used correctly.
Yeah.
A lot of people tend to remember me because of the sonic branding of insurance market, but in reality, what I've done far exceeds that of that brand and other brands in this region.
Yeah.
I recently went to a hotel, okay, where my music plays. And I entered the room where my music plays. And I sat there and I'm like, from a consumer point of view, obviously he made it. Of course he's going to be, into it. No, I sat there and I had someone with me. And I'm like, what do you think of the music?
Yeah.
And they're like, huh? I didn't tell them it's me or anything. I'm like, what do you think of the music? She's like,
Yeah.
you mean the music in the room? I'm like, yeah. And then she's like, it's good. It's nice. It's relaxing. I'm like, do you feel like it fits the vibe? Like they did a good job?
They're like,
And then-
leave me alone, buddy.
No, she's like, genuinely, she's like, yeah, okay, yeah. I mean, it fits the vibe. Yeah. I mean, I can tell it's their music in a sense. And then I dropped the bomb and I'm like, yeah, actually, that's me. And that plays not only in this room, but in every room. And not only in this hotel, in the whole hotels globally. And then she took her a minute to get the idea. But my point is that experience, whether you like it or not, as long as it really matches the brand to the best of everybody's ability, again, not the whole bank situation I explained earlier with the lullaby, then it's only going to add more value than no value. Nice. Now, how high can you go with the value? That goes down to who you work with, how it works. And sometimes you just luck out. Yeah. Like I consider insurance market, again, you're talking about people on the street stopping me on the street saying insurance market. And I'm like, my God, hi, hello, hi. And for me, that particular project is the only project I've ever done that went viral. And I mean really viral with normal people with zero spend from the marketing side of the company.
Yeah.
And it took it to a completely different level.
Yeah, it's great return on investment. Should we plow on to the next ball, my friend?
Yes. Take a moment. What is the toughest thing about working for yourself?
For all the entrepreneurs out there who go through all kinds of things, good, bad, crazy, low points, high points.
The toughest thing about working for myself is that I sometimes don't have control over myself. Sometimes I mess up and I know my mess up is 100% my fault. Comparing myself to other businesses or other successful people has been a dream killer for me. But then the best thing about working with yourself as well, which is also the toughest at the same time, it's to remember the alternative of giving up. So let's assume you give up. What comes out of that? Literally nothing. You gave up. And you hear thousands of videos. Do you want to be normal? Do you want to be this? Do you want to be that? Do you want to be just like everybody else? Do you want to be lazy? Do you want to be... It's not that simple. What people go through individualistically in their lives, they have every right to quit whenever they want to quit, and nobody should judge them. Genuinely. Nobody should judge anybody. Nobody should judge anybody when it comes to entrepreneurship. It's the hardest, the toughest thing in the world. But when you know that on the other side, there's literally nothing if you stop, you somehow realize, wait. Maybe I shouldn't full on stop. Maybe I should take a break. Maybe I should take it a bit slow. Maybe I should take a step back. Maybe I should go back to the drawing board. Maybe this. Maybe I should think of a different strategy. See, there are trillions with a T of different ways to take on your day-to-day businesses rather than to give up. When I say I've done 118, Luca, that is more sweat, blood, tears, and rejections than you can imagine. When I say I've done 118 brands, that's out of 500 no's. Out of 500, no, we're not interested, thank you. 118 said
But
yes.
you don't talk about that. You only talk about your successes.
Exactly. Remind yourself of what makes you special, helps you not fight with yourself every single day.
It's a great insight. It's a great insight.
That's my summary right there. Great questions. Incredible. AI in music and sonic branding, disruptive or harmonious to growth? Okay. In Mindloop Studios, we are adapting AI when it comes to voiceover services in all languages, because we have like 400 voice talents, blah, blah, blah. But we are now introducing AI as well. Also in music composition, we are introducing AI. By the way, works great. For us, in Mindloop, in music, the music services, like we did multiple compositions and jingles for different ads recently. And all of them are done by a human first, AI support second, right? A very good friend of mine told me to use that sentence. It's you. Anyway, so, and I agree with you. I didn't have a title to it, but we are human first, AI second. And we will remain that way. Because, I mean, think about my story, right? I never learned music. I never studied music. I never studied anything, really. And my music is known by what, 500 million people? Like, I mean it. I'm allowed to just go back in my own brain and think, this was all done by a human being, by real emotions. So I think AI is going to be helping us in Mindloop. Now for Sonic, AI and Sonic branding, new. No. To create the Sonic, I spend sometimes up to 1 month studying a brand. If it's like...
It took 20 minutes with mine.
Yeah, what do you think?
AI needs data
Yeah.
to do stuff.
Yeah.
Okay? If there's no data, it can't do anything. It's as simple as that. When you create something, you're literally creating a brand new piece of data.
Yes.
And that's specific to a brand. So for a Sonic, I don't see how AI can really help with the creation part. Where I can see it helping is in the delivery part, right? In the enhancement part, potentially. But in the actual creation, no. That's up to the humans.
I can't agree more. Imagine this with me. And this is something that I have access to. There is a Sonic program out there, which is in-house, made by people I work with, that I'm very proud of. You finish a Sonic branding, meaning the 4-second melody and all of the different assets for the brand. You feed it into this program. And then you throw social media videos in the same program and you say, I would like my Sonic to have this emotion, this energy, blah, blah, blah. And then you press on a button and it's done. That is how we are implementing Sonic branding into the world of AI. And that's where it belongs. Because any kind of sound you make does not have... Plus, Sonic branding is a very loose term. Like, people use the Volkswagen Das Auto as a Sonic branding. I mean, if I hear Das Auto, I know it's Volkswagen. But it's just a dude, a German guy, behind the mic going, or even mine, Switch TV for Salat. I'm the one saying, Switch, Chio, TV. That's mine. That's my voice, but it's a Sonic. Same as Das Auto, which is a Sonic. So there's a lot of elements, or ittisalat, it's the human element, yeah? People still like that. So does AI belong in Sonic? Yes. But not in the creation phase. I'm actually quite stunned that you got this so right so quickly.
Dude, I'm not a complete moron.
No, I'm not saying you are, but the level...
I've studied too. I've done my research.
No, it's an incredible bullseye statement.
Mate, look, humans create. That's what we do.
Yes, that is what we do.
AI echoes. AI takes inputs and then it spits out stuff. Next bull.
You found your voice. What's your message for those that never truly find theirs? That is also another very good question. I have found my voice, alhamdulillah. I'm very grateful. You found your voice, which is gorgeous, by the way. I think people need to first understand the power of the human voice and the power of sound overall. Like that's
so
where we start.
here it's about finding your voices and really knowing who you are and speaking out, speaking up for who you are and what
Yes.
you're all about.
Yes.
A lot of people feel shy that they shouldn't speak up, or they can't be themselves, or they hide. So the voice here really is a metaphor for your soul and your spirit and how you conduct yourself and how you approach the world. So what's your take on that? What's your message?
All the things I ever wanted to do, I've already done so far.
Yeah.
Minus movies. Just the score, the soundtrack of a movie is the last thing I want to do. I think the journey I went through pinned me to a certain direction where I had no choice but to do what I wanted to do. I know everybody has choices, but think about it this way, right? You didn't finish school, you got through this car accident, you're the only one who survived, you lost your best friends, you came to a brand new country, you knew nobody, you got fired from your first job ever and your only job, and all you ever wanted to do was to make music, and you happened to already had a bit of experience and a bit of luck. When I worked with Nancy Ajram, Elissa, all these Lebanese artists, I was like 17. That was before the accident. And, you know, even that was very, very shocking, meeting them and talking to them and working with them. And I guess getting affirmations really help guide you in the right direction. So surround yourself with people who love you, but you need to make sure that you love yourself first and have a serious discussion with who you want to be.
Yeah.
I always knew what I wanted to be since I was a kid. I mean, I met a guy, genuine story, very well-off guy, very, very, very well, the kind that has his own plane and stuff, genuinely. And we're talking, and I'm nagging, you know how I nag sometimes, of where I want to be, what I want to achieve, blah, blah, blah. And he looked at me and he's like, how much more do you want? And I looked at him like, what do you mean? This is when I was like, 29? So 2 years ago. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, from what I understand, you've done pretty much everything you want to do. I'm like, yeah, to an extent, but I have a very long road ahead of me. I need to maintain it. I need to grow it. I need to grow myself as an artist and everywhere in between. And then he's like, no matter how much money I make or my company makes or my companies make or whatever, there's one thing that I will never have that you have. And I'm like, what? He's like, you know how you just start humming random melodies sometimes when we're hanging out? And I'm like, yeah, I just do that. That's my thing. And then I made it into a business. And he's like, I'll never have that.
Look, everyone has their own story. Everyone has their own voice inside. It's about finding the conviction. Look, I've had on the show a lot of people who are experts in mindfulness and wellness and mental health, and it's all about looking inside. It's about people spend money on going to the gyms. People spend money on looking great. Spend money on fixing all the inside stuff, the childhood traumas, because that's what gives you the confidence later on to actually start to discover who you really are as a person.
I can't agree more.
That for me is like the essence of being able to start and finding your voice. Conversely, though, you're doing something that you love and you've always loved, but you haven't had a break in a long time, 12 years. And I told you this, you need to take some time off because mentally you're exhausted. You're not performing at your optimum best. Despite today you showing up in a great mood, great energy, great answers. So for you, my message to you is to listen to the voice that's inside to telling you to take it easy a little bit, because that's actually much more powerful than anything else.
I'm super grateful for everything you just said. And I just want you to know, when I released my first stand-up comedy special with Stars Play 2 years ago, the day of the shoot, which, you know, we pre-planned for months, like 3 months before, I woke up with a 41 degree Celsius fever. Went to the doctors, and lovely guy called Dr. Tamer, and he's Egyptian. He's like, ايش بيك يا حبيبي شو بيك. And I'm like, doctor, my show is tonight. You know, I'm not feeling well at all. Yeah. My fever, everything's bad. And then he started laughing and he's like, so don't do it today. Do it another day. I'm like, that's not how it works.
You've got to take a break. What I would say is I've been burnt out and I didn't know it. And it's only now when I look back and realize what I was going through, I couldn't see the signs.
Absolutely.
So the voice of, you know, what you need from inside, man, it's sometimes another person can help you have that realization. But if you don't have that close network of friends, like you mentioned, try and focus on your inside by speaking to people who know their stuff that can really help you. That's my message.
I am very, very grateful to that. And I have one more ball
One
in my
more.
hand. Does natural talent naturally alienate?
Which is really about loneliness, and not many people understand or get you. How do you feel? Do you feel lonely?
Sometimes.
What do you feel?
genuinely misunderstood. I'm very good at my job, all my jobs, because I chose to do them and I've dedicated my life to them. But when it comes to personal, I think it both alienates and gets people closer. When I'm doing the talent, when I'm doing it, it definitely gets people towards me. When I'm talking about it,
It pushes people away.
it pushes people away.
Elephant in the room. A lot of people will look at you and they're not able to identify with you.
No, they
Because-
just think I'm making everything up, or I'm lying, or I'm
So-
exaggerating, or
There's a lot of, I don't want to say bad PR, but misunderstood
yes,
sort of thinking about yourself. Now, I've seen you work. And
yes, you have.
I've seen you in your element. Because I've seen you work firsthand, I when I first met you, I thought the term genius is a bit of a, it's overused. But I've seen what you do, mate, and it's phenomenal. I've seen how you've created something, and like it's all based on gut and intuition, and it's phenomenal. So on that side, I can see how a lot of people, they don't have your talent for specific things that people won't understand. They'll never be able to get you, and you'll probably look at people and going, yeah, they're just not on my level, which can be alienating. But what makes it more alienating is when you talk about things that are things that they hope to get, but they can't or they don't have at the moment. Your
Yeah.
successes, the brands you worked with, the money you've made, the cars you drive, that can alienate a lot of people. But you're not that guy as well, because I know who you are. So I can see the both sides. Now, the people listening or watching, if they've watched this entire episode right the way through, they would have seen a certain version of you. But right now, in the last 2-3 minutes, they're starting to see what I've seen before. And that's the bit that you need to focus more on. And again, that comes from healing yourself by taking some time off and then doing a lot of work.
I genuinely agree with you, and here's what I want. Anyone who is watching this incredible podcast, and please watch it and spread it with your friends, if they have a bar or a location where I can come and play raw piano completely free of charge to the people based on a theme that the people decide right there and then, I offer my services completely free of charge. I would love to come and show people for the first time ever, taking this public, show people what emotion on the spot or improv music on the spot is really all about. Because to me, that's a vacation. What I want people to hear is you for a second. This is your jingle that has different emotions. So as we agreed, the first 10 seconds was what?
Talking about genuine, authentic,
Yes.
light,
Yes.
fun, entertaining, open, warm,
Second one?
more emotional,
Yes. And then the third one?
uplifting.
Excellent. So let's see how we combine that in this, okay? So you guys, when you're here, see his videos, this is the thing playing in the background. And then we go to emotional. And then violin comes in. How long did that take us?
Yeah, like 2.5 hours.
Nothing is as important as music in this world, not in the sense of the music that we see it, but rather the vibration that carries it, the energy that carries it, and the originality that is behind it. I'm super proud that I get to do this for a living. Genuinely, I am. I'm very grateful, actually. But with you, just know that this music sounds this beautiful because your show is all about that beauty in so many ways, from communication and content everywhere in between. I really think the way that the market is going to continue, there will always be saturation of content and all of that. But I think we're officially in an era where unique things can begin to stand out infinitely more than before. And I believe sound is going to play a very, 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 very important part of that. And today, with what I've achieved, alhamdulillah, I feel like I've been getting ready for this for the past 11 years, and I'm ready.
Ahmad, last bit of the show, I get to give you the power. My goodness, am I going to regret this? You get to ask any question you want or say anything that you want to say that you haven't yet said.
It is time.
Power is yours.
Okay. How far do you want to see the show go? And I want details. How far do you want to see the show goes and why? Like, I'll give you my perspective first, if you don't mind. Ever since I've been grateful enough to stumble on the show, I have seen other podcasts. I've been on, I don't know how many podcasts I've been on, honestly, I forgot. But with yours, what I've realized, not only from the people that you interview, the types of very challenging questions that you ask that are actually very entertaining. When you see such a unique format, from my perspective anyway, I could be wrong, right? But from my perspective, someone who's consumed a certain amount of podcasts, who's been on a lot of podcasts, I see this as a differentiator. I see it as different. I see the types of questions, the games, and you're evolving, which is the best part. Where you are today, you're not going to be next year or the year after. If I had the pleasure of coming back here when this also evolves even more, it would be amazing. But where do you want to take this ship? Because I know it's going to be bigger and bigger. I know in my heart. But it's only going to be bigger because you have all the right intentions with it. But I want to know from now, I want this to be a moment in your history. Enough about me for a minute. I want it to be a moment in your history to understand where's the show going.
So look, you've been on a lot of podcasts. Let me answer it this way. I didn't ask you anything about your past, that you died for about 46 seconds. Let's not get into it, right? I didn't talk to you about the trauma that you've been through as a child, your childhood, being a rebel, dropping out of school, all that stuff, because I've seen you on so many different podcasts talking very similar types of things. So I wanted to avoid that because I wanted to focus on you as the professional, you as the sound engineer, you as the entrepreneur. What I wanted to do with the show was to provide quality content that's accessible to everyone across different industries, because there are insights everywhere. Everyone has an insight. Everyone. Every industry has thousands of insights. It's about how do you sort of unpack all of that and then distribute that, give that, share that with the wider community. That's never going to change. My ambition for the show has always been to deliver quality content. Where I want to take it is to a global platform.
Amazing.
I am not someone who does anything at 50%. I don't believe in that. That's not how I was raised. My dad would tell me, I love my dad to pieces. He would tell me, if you're going to do anything, whether you want to, and he literally said this, if you're going to be a dustman, be the best dustman in the world. The same I'm going to do with everything that I'm doing, whether that's my public speaking. I do a lot of training. My communication coaching is doing extremely well, thank God. The podcasting. But for me, it's more than a podcast. It's an online show. And it's about communicating and having great content that can speak to millions of people worldwide. That's what I want. I want to take this to a level where I feel I am one of the best podcasts, TV show hosts, online show hosts, whatever you call it, that's producing quality content and that's accessible for millions.
You have what it takes.
That's what I want to do. So
but you genuinely have what it takes.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And you need to know. You need to hear it from someone else. You have what it takes.
I appreciate it.
And you look like that guy. You know, everyone has I'm serious. Everyone has a figment of an imagination of what the person who could be in a certain position could look like, because we're all brought up in that sense. You look like that guy. Yeah. You know how many times people meet me and realize where they've heard my voice and be like, there's no way that's you. Like, that's what you look like? And I'm like, that is what I look like. And but you look exactly like the guy who can take it on a global stage. And you will never, in my opinion anyway, you will never harm your unique formula. I think people can rest assured that and I know your level of quality has always been and will always be your absolute necessity. You will never dial it back.
You have
1%.
to look, when you do anything, like my dad would teach me when I was a young kid, do it, give it your best. If your best is not good enough, that's okay, but have the ambition to try and be the best and to go for it. And if you'd asked me this a year and a half ago, I wouldn't have felt comfortable giving you that answer. Because I wasn't sure still who I am and who I'm trying to be. I started season 1 trying to figure out who I was, and I literally said it first episode. Today I know who I am, much more confident who I am, and I feel more secure in this chair to tell you these types of things. But I am an ambitious person, but I also know things take time. You need to start any career, you need to learn the basics, you need to understand, you need to build, you need to grow, but then don't be scared to accelerate and to dream big, and you have to follow those. So that's what I'm doing. That's why I want to take it. I want to be the best podcaster in the world, the biggest podcaster in the world, or just a podcaster that can influence people to do better, to make better choices, or to have more informed decision making.
And I can guarantee to anybody watching that you are precisely what you say you are. You are precisely who you say you are.
I appreciate it.
The energy that is on this chair, that is in this room, anyone who gets to experience that will understand the originality that goes on here. And it doesn't matter where it is. Doesn't matter where it is. You can give me a keyboard and drop me in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean on a remote island with a laptop that has 12% battery left, and you tell me, make me the music that will stick in the heads of 100 million, and you've got 12 minutes and I'll pull it off.
Nice.
You have that.
Thank you. I wouldn't be on the island with you though. I'd probably want to kill myself.
Yes.
And on that note, mate, it's been great having you. Thank you for coming on. And I sincerely wish you take that time, because you need it. You deserve it. Focus inside and allow people to see the other side of you, which isn't that showboating comedic side, but actually there's a good guy in there, and I've seen it firsthand. So I wish you all the very best. You deserve it.
Thank you so much.
Guys, please like, subscribe, share. Thank you so much for watching.
Tell them to check out my Instagram. I'm working on it now.
No. I'm ending the show. Guys, thanks so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share. And see you soon on the Inside Track with me, Luca. Take it easy.